Good morning. Well, I guess technically it's afternoon, because this morning you learned about our brand new unit, the Renaissance. Now, Europe is officially breaking its way out of the so-called Dark Ages that it experienced during medieval Europe. Now, today, I'm going to teach you something very near and dear to my heart. Now, I think I've told you guys this in the past. My mother is an artist, and my wife is an artist. And I love art. I love drawing. I love sketching. I love painting. I love all of that sort of stuff. So today, what we're going to be talking about is how art changed through the ages. Now, specifically, we are going to be focusing on 3 different ages. Now, we're going to be focusing on European art from the Classical Age to the Renaissance Age, starting with the Classical Age, working our way up to the Medieval Age, and then finally closing our discussion with the Renaissance Age of art. Now, let me just give you a little bit of background. This will come in useful for today's assignment. Now, classical period. When we're talking about classics, we're talking about the years 500 BC to 500 AD. This is the oldest of all 3 art forms. Now, these pieces of art were basically created by 2 different groups, the Greeks and the Romans, and they focused on only a couple of things. People and leaders, such as Caesars, emperors, but also on gods and goddesses. Now, if you've ever read Percy Jackson, you know these gods and goddesses. Athena, Zeus, Hercules, Jupiter, Mars, Achilles, Ajax. All of these different gods and goddesses are what the classical artists chose to focus on. Now, the number one giveaway of these is they usually look very old, but also notice, look at this dude's face, this angry man throwing a dinner plate. Their faces are usually very bland, not much emotion there. Now, after the Classical Age, we make it to the medieval period. Now, this is maybe the easiest to identify. Let me tell you why. First off, anything created from the years 500 to 1400, those were created during the medieval period, also known as the Dark Ages. Now, there's 2 main focuses here. Number 1, religion. If you see Jesus, Mary, God, Joseph, angels, it is almost a dead giveaway that this is going to be from the medieval period. Now, the other one that you will see is you will see kings and queens. However, the purpose of medieval paintings had nothing to do with showing what real life actually looked like. Now, if you look at this painting here, you can see Jesus and Mary are much bigger than they should be. These people look flat, they look stiff, their fingers are long. If you ever see alien fingers, if you ever see man-baby Jesus, if people sort of look like turtles, that's a dead giveaway that this is going to be a medieval painting. Now, finally, we make it to the Renaissance. Now, that lady's familiar. That's the Mona Lisa. The Mona Lisa is perhaps the most famous of all Renaissance paintings. Let me tell you why. Now, the dead giveaway for Renaissance painting. First off, they come from the year 1400 till about 1650. Now, Renaissance artists were inspired by people from the classical period. Remember, they just lived through the medieval period, the Dark Ages, and they said, man, we just want to go back to how things used to be back with the Greeks and the Romans. So the Renaissance is literally a rebirth of interest in classical culture. Now, what they are going to focus on is everyday normal humans like you and me. Mona Lisa, she was just a normal rich lady who paid Leonardo da Vinci to paint her. That was it. She wasn't a king or a queen or an empress or anything like that. Now, the 2 main giveaways of Renaissance art is this. There is shading. For all of you artists out there, you know that the reason why the Mona Lisa looks 3D or 3-dimensional, it looks like he's popping out of the page at you, is because there is shading in this painting. The other thing is there is background. Now, if you look behind Mona Lisa, you can see that there's some mountains and some trees and what looks to be a lake back there. If there is shading or background, this is going to be a dead giveaway that you are looking at a Renaissance painting. Now, kiddos, let me congratulate you. You have all been promoted to amateur art critics. So what you're going to do is for each picture, I want you to identify if it is classical, medieval, or Renaissance. Now, here's the deal. I am going to show you 5 paintings here. Now, this assignment is going to be worth 10 points. I'm going to give you 5 points simply for attempting it. So, great. You got 5 points in the bag. Now, if you can get the other 5 correct, you will bada bing, bada boom, make it to 10 points. But like I said, this is hard for everybody, so don't worry. Even if you can get 3 out of it or 4 out of it, you are doing just fine. So, kiddos, picture number 1. Is this classic, medieval, or Renaissance? Picture number 2. Is this classic, medieval, or Renaissance? Picture number 3. Is this classic, medieval, or Renaissance? Picture number 4. Is this classic, medieval, or Renaissance? And finally, picture number 5. Is this classic, medieval, or Renaissance? Now, kiddos, good luck. I hope that you all nailed it. Now, don't worry if you didn't. It's hard stuff, but I think that there's going to be some of you guys out there who got every single one right because you are also little amateur art critics. Love y'all, and I'll see you tomorrow.